and here we will talk about uh, discrete random variable and the corresponding EMF. That means how discrete random variable is distributed. That means how one observed value of a discrete random variable is coming. What is the pattern? So that pattern things we will try to quantify through some kind of distribution function. What we here we will call it probability mass function. So coming to outline of today's lecture, in this outline, first in this lecture I will discuss about probability mass function. I told that the random variable, it happens to be a function from sample space omega to r. So you can say that this is a random definition of random variable, mathematical definition of a random variable. Now, what is mathematical definition of the distribution of various value of x? What x is taking? That means various real value assigned by x with respect to each outcome. So those would be definitely a real number. So simply we denote those observed value by x, small x, and with respect to x we try to associate one number. Further we try to associate one pattern, one number, or one occurrence. That means we try to associate some kind of randomness with that value of variable. So that randomness we measure it through some kind of probability or some kind of distribution we are calling it, and we call it probability mass function. So in short, you can say that probability mass function is actually defined from range of the sample space to R. But even you can generalize further to, even if you're there would be many value which would be not observed by the corresponding random variable. So you can generalize this function to complete real number. So you can say that this probability mass function is actually a function from R to R. That means those value which are not observed by x, so with respect to that the px will take 0, and those value which are observed by x, with respect to that px will take non-zero value. That is the difference between these two. So better definition of probability mass function happens to be this one is the concrete definition, but more generalized definition, if you talk from the application point of view, this is the definition. And from the plotting and from various perspective, if you try to apply some calculus kind of thing, so this is the more interesting definition, more generic definition of the probability mass function. That means range always range of, so domain of that probability mass function you can extend from range of the random variable to real number or real number. Okay, so that extension is very much feasible. Extension of domain is feasible by introducing that which value those value which are not observed by x having probability value of probability mass function 0. 0 is what that means, those are simply those value which are not observed by x. Simply we can say that those real value are associated with impossible event, null event. And what is the probability of null event? 0. So that's where you can extend the domain of probability mass function to R. And in the later part of this lecture I will talk about various special kind of discrete random variable, and I will talk about these because these are frequently coming, and we'll see that among those various discrete random variable, Bernoulli random variable happens to be the starting one, and rest of random discrete random variable whatever we will see, those you can say that those can be generated from the Bernoulli random variable. So Bernoulli random variable generate various discrete random variable like binomial, geometric, and various other Pascal and other things would come later. Okay. So coming to first part, that probability mass function, I will discuss in detail what is that. In last class I had already introduced probability mass function. So here I will talk in detail. So first I will talk about few specific discrete random variables. So and it is very essential to identify which quantification approach is a random variable and which one is not a random variable. That one is very much essential. So we are taking one experiment of 5 tosses of a coin, and then outcome, definitely if you try to notice that outcome, it would be a 5 tuple of heads and tail. 5 tuple, remember that I'm writing it 5 tuple, that means it is talking about finite sequence. If simply I'm writing sequence or tuple, by default it would be infinite in sense. Okay, so that's why once if that size would be given in prior, definitely it would be a finite sequence. So we consider an experiment of 5 tosses of a coin, then an outcome, it would be a 5 tuple of heads and tail. Then we can define the following quantification, and we will try to find whether those are random variable or not. So, and I had already told that the necessary criteria of being a random variable is that the domain of that random variable must be the complete sample space. If it is not, then we can't say that that quantification would be a random variable. So here I have taken several quantification. One quantification I am saying the number of heads in the sequence, the number of heads in the sequence. So anyone can comment over that. Suppose I'm calling this one x, denoting this one, it is talking about number of heads in the sequence of 5 tuple. Okay, in the 5 tuple outcome, numbers of heads. So can you say that is it a random variable? Anyone, whether it is a random variable or not? Anyone would like to comment over it, whether this one first one is a random variable or not? That means I told that it would be a random variable if every outcome is associated with x. Okay, okay, someone is trying to answer. So would you like to comment over it, whether this x is a random variable or not? Anyone? I'm not getting an answer from your side. Just try to answer whether you will be right or wrong. Don't worry about that. Just try to answer it, what it would be. Later, definitely, I will clarify what it would be. Any answer? Okay. So what is it? What would be x? X is a random variable or not? Yeah, very fine. It is a random variable. Why? If you try to look back deep down inside that, what is the domain of this one? Domain would be the complete sample space. Okay, so that's way. Now I'm talking about second one. I suppose I denote it by y. Y is talking about one 5 tuple of heads and tail. Just one 5 tuple. It is talking about, you are free to take any one 5 tuple like head, tail, 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 head, or anything else you can take. Now tell me, this y is a uh, random variable or not? Anyone? Okay, definitely this would be not a random variable. Why? Because it is not containing the complete sample space. It is just containing one outcome from the sample space. That's why this one is not a random variable. If you go for a third quantification, it is calling it 4 tuple of heads and tail. So definitely this would be also not a random variable because it is containing only 4 outcome from the sample space. And how many outcome we observe in this sample space? So you can go for same that sampling approach. That means here we are taking a sample of size 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So here this we are performing 5 toss. So in each toss we observe 2 outcome. In each toss we observe either head or tail. Also in this also we observe two option for this box, two option for this box. So total possible sample of size 5. You can see that sample of size 5 would be 2 into 2 into 2. How many times? 5 times. So 2 to the power 5. What does it mean? 2 to the power 5 means 32. So total number of sample would be here. How many? Total number of outcome would be 32. But here in this third quantification, we have taken only 4. So that's why 4 is also not a random variable. Now, if I'm talking about fifth one, tuples with first head. This one is I'm denoting it by W. So I'm taking a quantification approach, that one is saying that tuples with first head. Now, anyone can comment over this, whether it is a random variable or not? No, just think one more. Think more. So what you do? Try to get the value of W. So possible value first head. It is talking about five tuple with first head. So if I talk about uh, this event, tail, 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 tail. So definitely it is an outcome of this experiment. Now tell me, uh, under this quantification, where this will map? Do we see any first head here? No. So that's why it will map to first head, means there is no first head. What is no means zero. Here you observe zero first head. So that's why it will map to zero. So if you are having outcome which is not having first aid, that will map to zero, and those outcome which are having first aid, that will map to some quantity that you can give it one or two or something like that. You can call it one. Okay, first aid simply you can give some number to that. So like this way, this one is having first aid. You will say that it is mapping to one. Other one is having first head, like head. That one is also mapping to one. It depends upon your choice what number you want to give, you want to assign. Okay, so this one is also mapping to first head. So you can say that it is one kind of binary classification. So binary classification, so in all the event in the sample space has been divided into two group. One group where we observe the outcome which are having not first head. Another group, what we observe, that one is having those outcome which are having first head, which is having first aid. Okay, so it is binary classification, and in the process of doing binary classification over this sample space, we always come to see that every outcome of that sample space is engaged. So that's way this 5 is a random variable. It is a random variable. Did you get the meaning of this one, how it was a random variable? Yeah, it is just resemble with classification problem. Very simple kind of classification problem that you are introducing, that first head and not first head. So that is that. Similar way you can define other random variable like first tail, not first tail, first to tail, not first to tail. So various random variable you can define in this experiment. So simple, just you need to know, just focus on the statement, what kind of quantification does it that say, and based on that you try to infer whether it is a random variable or not. So you had already seen that 1 and 5, 1 and 4, 1, that this x we have given name, and 4, that means W, both are random variable, but 2 and 3 are not random variable. 2 and 3 are not random variable. So just very much clear that why it is not a random variable. It is very much essential to identify whether one quantification is a random variable or not. No, I will take another example. Here it is talking about rolling a dice twice. Two roll of a dice we are taking, and in that process we are defining the following quantification. First quantification is saying that sum of two rolls. It is accounting sum of two rolls. So whatever outcome you will get, sum the uh, sum the entries of that outcome. Definitely outcome here it would be what, order pair. First outcome here first entry of the outcome will come from first roll, and second entry would come from second roll. So what are the possible entry here? It would be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and in the second entry would be also 1 2 3 4 5 6. So that is the situation now. And in the first case, in this quantification it is saying that sum of the two roll. So I'm denoting it by x. So tell me whether it is a random variable or not. Yeah, very nice. It is a random variable because every outcome of the sample space would be engaged by this quantification. So that's why it is a random variable. Now we are coming to second, call it y. It is calling the number of sixes in two roll. So can we say that is it a random variable? No, just think more. Then you will see. Listen. Just think more. Yeah, nice. So that's way it is a random variable. So just here one kind of what are the possible value of y? It is not a binary classification. Just you are counting number of sixes. So possible number of sixes are what? Zero. That means if you don't observe any six in that outcome, that like if you take outcome 1 comma 1, then there is no six. So that will map to 0. If you take 1 2, that would also map to 0. If you take 1 6, that will map to 1. There is 1 6. If you are taking 6 6, that will map to 2, because there are two sixes. So possible value of y are 1 2 and 0 1 and 2. Three possible value of y, and hence we can see that every outcome of the sample space are engaged. Every outcome of the sample space is engaged under this map y, and hence we can say that it is a legitimate random variable. Now we are coming to third one, that call it Z. It is talking about sum of two roll is either 5 or 7. So can we say that is it a random variable? Just think more. No, very nice. It is not. Why? Because we are having, just find one counter example. We are having one entry, that one outcome. If you sum the uh, entries, it would be 2. It is mapping to 2, and 2 is not equal to, it is not equal to any of the value 5 or it is not equal to either 5 or 7. It is not equal to 5 or 7. So simply we are having a counter example. That means we are having an outcome which is not mapped by Z. So this one is not a random variable. So simply just find out a single outcome which is not mapped by that quantification, then simply we will call that one is not a random variable. And if you want to prove that some quantification is a random variable, then you have to look into every outcome, engagement of every outcome. Then you will claim that quantification of map would be a random variable. So I'm taking third example. So it is from communication. Okay, so it is an experiment of transmission of a message. So here we can define various kind of quantification. One quantification we are defining the time needed to transmit the message. One is call it x, the time. Definitely it happens how you count time. You count time by ticking of that needle. So definitely it is a one kind of quantification. So here by default we take time through equiprobable approach. That means you know about the speed of that needle. It always we consider that it happens to be uniform in nature. That means if a needle is moving from 1 minute to 2 minutes, and with the same speed that it is moving from 0 minute to 1 minute. So that concept is coming from equiprobable approach. And just for simplification we are taking. So practically it is not possible, but through cesium clock, that one is a standard clock. From there it might be possible. So here time is just simply say that it is one approach of quantification. So the time needed to transmit the message here we are talking about. So tell me whether this this quantification is a random variable or not. Whether it would be random variable or not. Anyone? So you have to note down. You have to identify what is the outcome. So outcome in the experiment, that message. So you will have several messages, bulk of messages. So bag of messages would be that would be your sample space. So you have to see that whether this quantification is engaging every message or not. If some message is not engaged by this one, that means definitely when you count it the time needed to transmit the message, then it will talk about every engagement of every message is from the bag. Okay, from the sample space. So it is a random variable. Time needed, it is talking about with respect to every message. Time needed to, so with respect to some message, if you're not sending, that will that means time it will time will be assigned infinite or something like that. That means after several hours it will be sent. and the number of another we are defining the number of symbol received in error. The number of symbols received in error. We are counting number of symbols received in error. So message, if you want to send 101, and some message is coded in 101, and in place of 101 your binary coded coding I'm talking about, in place of 101, and just to make things complicated, that means you don't want, when you are sending message, when you transmit message, you never like that other person other than that to whom you are sending will come to know about that message. So sometimes you encrypt that message, so in place of 101 you may send 111 or like that, but for that you have coded something, so you need to pass a key that we are calling it decoding. So the person receiver will have that password, and through that that person will decode and will get uh, actual message. So definitely you are putting some kind of error, so the number of symbol received in error, that would be also a random variable, and the delay with which the message is received, it is also a random variable. Definitely delay will happen. So if there is no delay, means zero value is taking that means zero delay. If there, definitely delay will occur, definitely while sending message, delay will occur. So that's why internet disconnectivity is happening, and various communication you are unable to talk while in a call, ongoing call, you are unable to talk, listen a few sentences or few words. So why? Because of the delay in the message, what message that sender is sending to you, then that there definitely there might be delay. So that's why it is happening. So all these are random variable in this communication system. Okay, now going further, I will talk about to one interesting kind of random variable. There you may say that I told that random definition of random variable is saying that the range of the random variable must be a discrete set. So that I had defined this, it must be a discrete set, but I didn't told about anything about sample space. Suppose your sample space is continuous, uh, can we again can we define a discrete random variable over a continuous sample space, or for a discrete random variable sample space would be always a discrete always in discrete structure? It is not necessary. Even over a continuous sample space you can define a discrete random variable. So the exact definition of discrete random variable is always implied characterized by the range of random variable that must be a discrete random variable. It is just dealing with range of the random variable. You have to look into the range of random variable. That means what kind of value has been observed by x. If those are discrete, that means those can be put in a single sequence, or in a single sequence, then simply we can call that random variable will be a discrete random variable. Unless we are not worrying about what is the sample space, we never worry. It sample space may be continuous, sample space may be discrete. That means sample space may have a finite number of outcome, may have countable number of outcome, may have uncountable number of outcome. It's like any kind of situation it would be. So we are taking one example here. So consider the experiment of choosing a point from the interval -1 to 1 at random. Then we can define a discrete random variable by using signum function or sine function, also you can say that by sine function, like this way. So sine function, when this outcome we are that it is experiment is selecting, choosing a number from the interval -1 to 1. Okay, so there are three kind of numbers here in this interval: negative, positive, or zero. Okay, so we are defining sine approach. Sine approach, it is a function over this outcome. How define? So sine function, sine of omega, it is -1 when we are omega is negative, the selected number is negative, then we assign it -1, and we assign this the number which is 0, we assign number 0, and the number which are positive we assign 1. So here, from here, we observe that negative number has been mapped to -1, positive number has been mapped to 0, sorry, 0 has been mapped to 0, and positive number has been mapped to, that means which is negative, the numbers from this interval has been mapped to -1, and 0, which is 0, the number we say, what we after selection we are getting, if it is 0 then we assign 0. If number what we are getting after selection we are getting, suppose that one is positive, then we assign 1. Okay, so we observe a clear trichotomy here. So definitely here what sample space, this is the sample space -1 to 1, -1 to 1, it is a sample space. But if you try to see this sample space, it is a continuous sample space. But the random variable what we had defined here, in the range of random variable we are having only three numbers, these -1, 0 and 1. So that's where this one is a discrete random variable. Why? Because range of this random variable is a discrete set. So range of a random variable is deciding the nature of a random variable, whether it is discrete or continuous. So we are taking another example to consider the experiment of choosing a point from real number at random. Then we can define a discrete random variable as follows. So here we do dichotomy. That means we divide things in two parts. So all non-positive, that means less than equal to 0 number, it will be mapped to in the real line. So here 0 would be here. So these are non-positive, that means either negative or 0. So these numbers are mapped to 1 and these are positive number. So positive number has been mapped to 0. So that's way easily we can say that this is the range of this random variable, and which is a discrete set. So we can say that it is a discrete random variable over continuous sample space. R is the sample space for this experiment. Now we will take another general perspective. We can say that if we consider an experiment with the sample space omega, then we can always define a discrete random variable by using characteristics function. So how we define characteristics function? It is the notation is this chi, and we define it like this way. If you are over a set, if you are taking any element from that set, then that element would be mapped to 1, and if you are taking any element which is not in that set, then that element would be mapped to 0. So this is the definition of characteristics function. So it is always defining a discrete random variable over any sample space. So it is very here don't worry about whether sample space is discrete or continuous. Always you will get a discrete random variable through characteristics function. So this is the approach. Now I'm coming to probability mass function. What does it talk about? So probability mass function, I told that the most important way to characterize a random variable is through probability of the observed value that it can take, or that the corresponding random variable can take. So we have to characterize a random variable by noting down the probabilities or the occurrence, the way that those random value of random variable occurs. So through that we can characterize a random variable. That means we can say that we have to note down the pattern of occurrence of the various observed or measured value of the random variable, and we call such pattern, we call that this that the distribution of the random variable. The characterization or the pattern what we are noting down, that we are calling it distribution of the random variable. Okay. And for a discrete random variable, this pattern can be captured by probability mass function. In short, we denote it by PMF, probability mass function. And for mathematically, we denote it by Px. It is a function, Px. Okay. And how we define it? Like this way. If x is any possible or observed value of the random variable x, then probability mass of x, we will denote it by Px of x is the probability of the event x is taking value, observing, or simply observed value, or x is observing the value x. And how we can calculate this one? This one is equivalent to say that it consists of all outcome that give rise to the value x. That means it is talking about pre-images of x, this observed value x in the sample space. Okay. and as we can calculate the value of this probability mass function for x by this probability. That means this function, probability mass function for x is defined as the probability that x is observing this value of small x. Okay, and now in order to calculate this probability, now it is totally probability. Right now if you are here, it is talking about probability mass function. Here it is a function, and we are defining this function by this probability. Now we are going to calculate this probability. It is talking about the probability that x is observing value x or taking value x. And how we can calculate it? We have to look back into inverse image of x. So what are the inverse image of x? That means all the collection of outcome which has been mapped to x. So find the probability of those outcomes, and that will give your value of probability mass function for the corresponding observed value of x. Okay, that is the ultimate understanding of probability mass function. So we will take few example here. Consider a 4 tosses of a coin, and now here we have to find the probability mass function for the random variable that is defined as number of heads in 4 tosses. So call it x, the number of defining number of random, we are calling this random variable x. So it will take possible value 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, because we are performing 4 toss. So 5 possibility for x. X will take any of these 5 numbers. Okay, so we will try to find first sample space. It is here sample space is very small, so we can easily find. So sample space, these are the outcome in this sample space, and this is the sample space, and easily you can see, observe that how many outcome is possible when you toss a coin 4 times. So that means you do sampling of sample size 4, and that's how you count the total number of sample. So here this would be this place would be fill up by either head or tail. In how many way? 2 way. This would be also fill up by 2 way. This would be also fill up by 2 way. That means 2 to the power 4. What does 2 to the power 4? It is actually equal to 16. So you are having 16 outcomes in this experiment. So these are the you can look what are those outcomes. Now we are having 16 outcome, and over this random experiment we have defined a random variable that is counting number of heads in these tosses. Okay, 4 tosses. So here you can observe that how many tosses you observe here. 4 toss. Here how many heads you observe? 4 head. Here how many head you observe? 3 head. Here you observe 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 2 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 head, and also here you observe 2 head, 2 head. Now onward you observe only 1 head, only 1 head, only 1 head, only 1 head, and here you observe 0 head. So you did a mapping of this one, mapping of this random variable. So it is a legitimate random variable. Now we will try to find the probability of each observed value. So first observed value we are calling it 0 is the first observed value by this random variable. So how we can find probability? That means probability mass function for this value, the probability mass function for this value 0, we define it by probability that x is taking value 0, and this one is what? It is related with which outcome in the sample space? T 4t. So calculate the probability. So each t, this t is talking about getting tail in the first toss. This one is talking about getting tail in the second toss. This one is talking about getting tail in the third toss. This one is talking about getting tail in the fourth toss, and each one is independent of other. So simply we can apply that product rule to calculate the probability, and each one is independent to other. So that's why probability would be 1 by 4, 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, 1 into 1 by 2. That means 1 by 60 in total you will get. Similarly, you can get the value of probability mass function for x equal to 1 through this definition, and that means it is counting number of heads equal to 1. So how many outcome is having number of heads equal to 1? So you can observe that there would be 4 outcome are having number. These are the 4 outcome having number only 1 head. So that's why you are do selection for you choose what you choose through this combination, what we call it 4C1 or 4 choose 1. Simply also we can say 4 choose 1, and each outcome is having probability 1 by 16, and hence we can say that the value of probability mass function for x equal to 1 is what? 4 by 16. Likewise, the value of probability mass function for x equal to 2 is what? It would be 6 by 16, and value of the probability mass function for x equal to 3, it would be 4 by 16, and value of probability mass function for x equal to 3, it would be what? It would be x4. X4 we had to 3 we had already taken. For 4 it would be 1 by 16. So this is the distribution this property mass function for. So you can plot all these, you can do plotting of this one here like this way. So here along horizontal axis you are taking value of x. So what are the possible value of x? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 possible value of x. And what are the value of corresponding probability? 0. What is the probability of 0? It is 1 by 16. Histogram plot I am going for that. And for 1, what was the probability? It was 1 by 14 by 4 by 16. So 4 by 16 definitely it would be higher than 1 by 16. So here 4 by 16. And 3 is taking how much? 2 is taking 6 by 16. 6 by 16 would be relatively higher than 4 by 16. So this is the height going up to here. 2 is going up to here, and 3 is taking 4 by 16. It will go up to here, and 4 is taking 1 by 16. So this is the plot of this probability mass function. In y-axis you can take value of probability mass function. So this is the plot. Here discrete. If someone is saying that, asking what is the value of probability mass function for 0.5, easily you can say that 0, because we don't see any outcome which is associated with 0.5. So that's why that will map to 0. So if someone is asking find the value of probability mass function for 0.5 here in this example, then your answer would be 0. If someone is asking what is the value of probability mass function for 0.6 or 0.67 or any other value between 0 and 1, then you can simply say that that value is also 0. That value is also 0. So in that process you can say that probability mass function has been mapped to R2 real number between 0 and 1. Okay, range would be always between 0 and 1. Even someone is taking what is the probability mass function, value of probability mass function for -1, -1, that would be also impossible event, impossible observed value. So that will map to 0. That one is also mapping to 0. So that in that way you can assign probability mass function for each of the real value, but most of the real value in this will map to 0 under this probability mass function. Only few would map to non-zero, that means positive kind of things. Now we will go further to discuss about properties of probability mass function. So here we can observe that first same thing I am talking it, in order to calculate probability mass function value of probability mass function for a observed value x, you have to look into what are the outcome and just calculate the probability of that collection of outcome, then you will come to know. And if you are taking an event which is having two value x2 and x5, and suppose x2 is having pre-image a1 a2 in the sample space, and x5 is this x5 is real number which is having pre-image in sample space as a3, then how we can calculate probability of b, this event b? It would be just sum of probability of x2 and x3. This is the approach to calculate. So we'll generalize these things in order to define a legitimate probability mass function. So first property, it says that if you are defining any probability mass function over a discrete random variable, then for any value of observed value, the probability mass function would be always greater than or equal to 0. Non-negative concept it is coming. Now second is talking about normalization. That means if you sum all the value of probability mass function for every observed value of x, then that sum will go to 1. This we are calling it normalizing condition. And third, it is talking about that if you are having an event like this way, then how you can find the probability of that event. That means if b is taking a specific observed value, not all observed value of x, only few observed value of x. So what you have to do that, then just assign what are those observed value and find the probability with respect to the probability mass function with respect to those observed value and sum it up, then you will get the probability of that event. So these three law must be satisfied by any probability mass function. It is very essential requirement of being a probability mass function for a discrete random variable. So we will talk about various what we call it various discrete random variable and a special kind of discrete. Simply we are just going to make things particular. So and these are yes. Actually, probability mass function is defined with the help of probability. It is coming here. It is defined with the help of probability. So here you need to know what is the event. It is defined by this one probability. So in right hand side, what you observe, that one is the probability, because capital P here coming, and this one is a small p. So definitely you can say that the probability mass function is a probability, but probability density function is not a probability actually, and that one is taking probability in a interval wise. So you can say that the probability mass function reflect probability. Several times I had told that okay, that we are talking about discrete random variable here. So range of the random variable would be a discrete set. That means what is meaning of discrete set? We are able to put element of that discrete set in the form of sequence x1, x2, x3 like this way. So x1, x2 you can put like this way. All these are real number now. So you can put like this way xk. So what if you try to look back inverse image? So what are the outcome in the sample? So we are having sample space here. So what we have to note down, what are the outcome which has been mapped to x1, like in the four toss of a coin, like four toss on coin, you can observe that head, tail, 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 head, tail, 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 head, then various other all these you observe that all these are mapped to where one in this outcome you can observe only one head. So all these are mapped to one. So like one is a real number x1, you can say that one. So here definitely various outcome would map to x1. So what are those outcome? So those outcome we are calling it a1. So all those a1 is collecting all those outcome which has been mapped to x1. Likewise a2 is what it is, a2 is in the sample space, so it is having all those outcome which has been mapped to x2. And likewise ak is having all outcome which has been mapped to xk, which has been mapped xk. Okay, did you get it? That is the thing. So AK is just pre-image of another way. Also, you can say that pre-image of inverse image. You can denote it like this way. It is not an inverse map. It is talking about inverse image. Inverse image. That means what are the outcome which has been mapped to XK. You can read it out. And further you can note down in the definition through outcome. That means it is the collection of outcome which has been mapped to xk under the random variable x. So we write it like this way. Set theory definition. This is the set theory definition. Okay. So pre-images. Simply you can say that pre-images. So I will go further. Various discrete random variables. So first simplest discrete random variable is talking about Bernoulli random variable, where we observe only two two possible value of the random variable. Either it is 0 or 1, or you can say that minus 1 1, depends upon your situation what you want to introduce. So there are only binary situation, that means two value. This random variable will take only two value, so it depends upon you what kind of two value you want to introduce. So consider the toss of a coin which comes up a head with probability p and a tail with probability 1 minus p. So then we can define a random variable for, especially in this experiment, what random variable we will define, that will be known as a Bernoulli random variable, that will take only two value. Either you can call it 1 or minus 1, you can call it 1 or 0. So if you're talking counting number of heads in this situation, you can say that that random variable will take 0 or 1, either 0 or 1, so depending on whether outcome is a head or tail. So and hence, so we can say that this random variable is defined like this way: x is taking value 1 if your outcome is head, and x is taking value 0 if your outcome is tail. Okay, so we are having this random variable. Then what is the probability mass function? So probability mass function, that means we have to calculate value of probability mass function for each value of x. So if you're taking x equal to 0, what is the value of probability mass function? It is defined. So always I'm left hand side we are saying it is a probability mass function, and right hand side always I say that it is the definition of this one. That means this probability mass function is defined by this probability, and we know how to calculate this probability. So that probability that x is taking value 0, it is given by that probability of tail. And what is the probability of tail? It is 1 minus p. Similarly, what is the value of probability mass function for 1? It would be given by this probability, and what is that? That one is p. Okay, so these are the only x is having two possible value, either 0 or 1. For rest of value, probability mass function would be 0. By default you can define it. So if you want to unify it, then you can unify the probability mass function like this way. This is the separate definition, bifurcated definition, and the unified definition of the probability mass function is coming like this way: that p x of x, it would be p to the power x into 1 minus p to the power 1 minus x. If you are taking x equal to 0, that means 0 head, then it will, this term will be absent. P to the power 0 is 1, and we will have only 1 minus p. That means it is given by this. If you are taking 1 x equal to 1, then this term will be absent, and we will have just p to the power 1, that means p. So that means that one is talking about head. So this is the unified definition of probability mass function in case of this Bernoulli random variable. So whatever a specific random variable we will talk about, those will always have a specified probability mass function. So that means if simply if I ask define a probability mass function, so your answer would be that just directly come up with your probability mass function of that random variable. So that is the uh, uh, that is the part of this segment, that whenever we are defining a random variable, associate that corresponding probability mass function. So what are the application of Bernoulli random variable I will talk about? You can say that this is the basis of most of discrete random variable. That means most of discrete random variable you can define with the help of Bernoulli random variable. How? We will see it here. In practice, Bernoulli random variable is used to model generic probabilistic situation with just two outcomes, such as the state of telephone at a given time, that can be either free or busy, binary situation. Then definitely this can be modeled by Bernoulli random variable. Now, another one, if a person who can be either healthy or sick with a certain disease, suppose cancer or something like that. So again, this can be modeled with the help of Bernoulli random variable. Like further, the presence of preference of a person who can be for a either for a political candidate, or he will be against that political candidate. So only two situations. If you take any person, either that person will support the existing government, or that person will support opposition. So that situation would come here. So that preference, so that problem we can model with the help of Bernoulli variable. Okay, so furthermore, by combining multiple Bernoulli random variable, we can construct more complicated kind of discrete random variable or random variable by combining. So one of